Joining me now on East Bay Today, I have an old friend here, Heather Hole Strout, the Executive Director of the MLK Center. It's nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. It's nice to be back. It's been a while.
I know. You've been on the show a few times, and so many exciting things and good work that you are doing. So for our viewers that do not know what the MLK Center is, can you just give us a rundown on what that is and why it has captured your heart?
Sure. So
passion.
Absolutely. I love doing that. So we have been in Newport for 102 years, and the MLK Center is a place for everybody in our community to come and get help and hope. We have 25 different programs that fall under 3 different categories. Our first is our hunger relief programming, which is vast. We have an on-site food pantry. We have a mobile food pantry that goes out throughout Newport County to 15 different neighborhoods monthly and stops at each place once a month. We have a Food to Friends program, which delivers to homebound seniors and disabled people. We have a food pantry now in Middletown and Tiverton high schools. We have a produce program that happens weekly, and so much more. We also have education for young children. So we have a preschool for ages 3 and 4. We have a after-school program, and then we have a wonderful 8-week summer camp that we do, which is 8 weeks of adventure and literacy and math, and it's a really great program. And then the third bucket of what we do at the center is our community programs, which range from free exercise classes, art classes, we have cooking classes, we have a wide variety of community partners that come in and offer their supports to the community. So we have space that we provide to other nonprofits that are providing things to the community. And then I think one of the most impactful programs that we do is our overnight warming center, which will be opening on December 28th for the winter season.
Is that a new thing?
We started last year.
Okay.
You know, there's a huge need in the community for it. I wish we could start it sooner, but we have our holiday programming going on, which is enormous. We're providing Christmas to over 1,100 children this year, so we have only limited space to do all these different things.
I'm exhausted hearing of all the things that the MLK Center does, and it just keeps expanding, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in our mission, you know, we're there to support the community with, you know, physical well-being and emotional well-being, and you know, we really want to try to wrap our arms around the community in whatever ways are needed, but we also are very aware of not duplicating other people's services. So if we see a need in the community, we always talk to our other nonprofit partners about that are offering things and say, do you need more help with that? If not, then they should be doing that. But you know, when a need can't be met in our community, we want to try to find a way to meet it.
I'm under the impression that the nonprofit leaders certainly on Aquidneck Island work very closely together.
Oh, we do.
Like, you guys are close, you're tight. You know, it can be lonely sometimes, so you've come together, right?
Yeah, I
mean,
there's a great group of executive directors, CEOs around all of Newport County, and we meet regularly. I will say that some of the foundations bring us together, like the Van Buren Charitable Foundation is an amazing support to all the nonprofits in our community, and they bring us together for different things. And we call each other and ask about anything we want to talk about with each other, because we're all here for the same thing. We're all trying to make our communities stronger.
And like you said, give hope. Right?
Yes,
I loved that hit my heart.
And I will say that, you know, people that we're writing grants, and grantees want to, they want us working together. You know, they want to see us. It's the best bang for their buck when they see us working together.
Stronger together.
Yep.
Stronger together.
Yes.
Now, how long have you been with MLK?
I have been with the MLK for almost 9 years.
Okay.
I've been the executive director for almost 6 years, and it's just been an incredible experience just to see where the centers come over that time. We went through COVID, and that was, I think, what made the MLK Center really a place that people looked at as a leader in what we're doing.
Trust, like they're going to be there. They're going to have my back.
Yes.
No
matter what.
Yep. Global pandemic.
Yes.
Gas outage.
Yep. And then we celebrated our centennial back in 2022, and we kicked off a capital campaign and just did a recent expansion and renovation of our building, which has been just incredible. And the community support that we received in order to make that happen is unbelievable. So the building is
let's talk about the magnitude of that. Like, so I want everybody to really understand, like, what did you have to raise? What was that process like?
Yeah, so we had to raise $7.5 million.
Wow.
That was $4.5 million of that was for the building. Some of that was for our endowment, which we had started a little earlier, a couple of years before that, and we need to keep growing because we want to make sure that this beautiful building and these amazing programs that we have in place can be sustained in good times and in bad times. And and then some of that money also went into programs. So we've been able to increase our programs because of the generosity of our community. But the majority of it went into our building. And you know, we've seen an expansion, especially in our hunger relief programming, like we never imagined. And we hit a milestone of distributing 1.1 million meals from the center this past fiscal year.
In a year.
In a year. And that's over 600% increase from what we were able to do 10 years ago.
I'm trying to do math and be like, how many is that a day? Like, I'm not going to ask you to do math, but that's a lot.
It's a lot. You know, we have a lot of different programs. And, you know, when a family comes shopping at our food pantry, they receive about 2 to 3 weeks worth of food for every member of their family. So it's all calculated. That's how we come up with that number. And we believe that that number actually might be a little less than what is actual because just the vast variety of our hunger relief programs, our hot meals, our pantry, our distributed meals out into the community are never ending.
So it's up what percent, did you say? It's the increase?
So it's been over 600% increase in 10 years.
So what do you attribute that to?
Well, it's interesting because when we look back at our data, we used to serve mostly Newport. So about 95% of our clients were from Newport. And now it's about 66%, 65, 66% in that range, because we have really made a conscious effort over the past 10 years, maybe a little less than that, on getting out into the community. So having a food pantry at Tiverton High School, bringing our mobile food pantry to Tiverton, to Portsmouth, to Jamestown, delivering food throughout the community. So, you know, we're not just in our building, we're all over the community. And so our numbers are growing because people
out there.
We're out there.
And you're helping them get to you, really.
We're finding people where they are and knowing that transportation is an issue for a lot of people. So if you don't have a car and you have to come to the food pantry on a bus or in an Uber, that's really challenging. So we're trying to get our food out to people where they are as much as possible.
Yeah. All of these challenges, right, around food and transportation and health and homelessness and everything are all interlinked, right?
They are all interlinked. And it's also, you know, we also want to be a center and are making, you know, a lot of strides in being a center that's not just for people who need help, but for people that just want to be around other people and that social aspect. Yeah. So we have a lunch and learn program for seniors, which is twice a month, where we have a delicious, healthy lunch and a variety of topics that we educate people on. Sometimes it's just bingo. Sometimes it's a musical, you know, event where we have a musician come in. We also do exercise classes 3 mornings a week that are free to the community. We have all different people that come to those. We do concerts in the summer, which are open to the whole community. So, you know, we really want people to feel together as a community, and not really, it doesn't matter what your economic status is or yours is. We're all people. We're all people that are just trying to be together.
I certainly find that too. I help run a little community center up in northern Portsmouth, and for me, it's about creating connection. Like I feel like when I get up every day, I'm trying to create connection, and because I still feel like we're not recovered from COVID yet, and that brokenness that is very real.
Seniors, you know, had the biggest effect on them, and I finally feel like it's normal again, as normalized as I think it will ever be. But another thing that we do to really connect people is we have a vast amount of volunteer opportunities. Last year we had over 600 volunteers throughout our programs give 18,000 volunteer hours. So if we had to hire staff to do those things that those volunteers are doing, we would be a much different center. You know, we rely on our volunteers day in and day out for our programs. But for them, I hear over and over again, they say that we're helping them more than they're helping us because of the connection and the purpose that a lot of people get from doing the work that they're doing. So
it's good work, Heather.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
thank you.
I love that you're at the helm there.
Well, I love that I'm at the helm too. It's my home. You know, it really is.
I can tell, and that's
Yeah.
very lucky. Let's pivot to what's upcoming here for the holiday season.
So we have Santa's Workshop, which is our holiday gift giving program. We set up our community room at the center like a store. We call it the FAO Swartz of Newport. And we have 1,100 children registered so far. Their parents come and they shop for each of their children and get to choose 3 gifts that their children would like. They take them home and wrap them, and they give them to their kids for Christmas. So it's a really empowering program. Rather than us picking out what we think these kids will like, their parents get to pick out from thousands of toys that get donated.
It feels pretty innovative.
It is,
yeah.
and honestly, we have amazing volunteers that make it happen, and you know, it's everything that we do at the center is client choice. So our food pantry, people pick what works for them, and same with Santa's Workshop. So, and then in addition to that, we give holiday food help for people so that they can have a nice meal on the table on Christmas. Or whatever they celebrate during the winter holidays, and we give gift cards for that. So registration for that ends on December 11th, which is Wednesday, December 11th. So anybody that needs help, we're here. And,
Right.
Anybody who doesn't register by then, we always seem to find a way to help them anyway. But we really like people to try to get registered by December 11th. So we know how many people we're talking about. We think it'll be about 1,200 like it was last year.
Okay, so we just need everybody to go to that website.
Yeah.
Check it out. Check out all
yes.
the amazing things.
Yes,
and
if you
get
have
registered.
Toys that you can donate. New toys, anything and everything. We want to make sure that every child in our community has a merry holiday season.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Do you find, is this kind of the busiest season of the year?
Yes.
Or, yeah?
It is. So we just got off of Thanksgiving, where we provided Thanksgiving meal ingredients, a turkey, and all the sides for over 900 families.
Full shebang.
Yeah. And
That's
so
nice.
just 900 turkeys alone was a lot to get donated and figure out, and then, 16,000 pounds of produce we distributed, and stuffing and cranberry sauce, and everything that it takes to make a delicious Thanksgiving. So that ended, and then we go right into Santa's Workshop, and then we go right into the warming center. And in between all of that is our regular programming, like
Right.
breakfast and lunch, and our education programs and our food pantry. So, my staff, like Santa, they're ready for a long winter's nap. We close for a couple of days after Christmas, which is always hard to do because we know people need us, but our staff is exhausted.
You also need
so,
to take a breath.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds amazing. Thank you for all the great work that you and your entire team do. Many things to be blessed.
Well, thank
and
you.
grateful for, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a very special experience you had this summer. To let our viewers know, I am on the I'm on the board of the Harvard Business School Alumni Club of Southeastern New England. And one of the missions of our club is to send nonprofit executives to Harvard Business School for some executive education. And last spring, you were awarded a scholarship to a very special program near and dear to my heart called Strategic Perspectives in Nonprofit Management. It's just, the words are tumbling out of my mouth. Like, yes, it's a lot, it's a mouthful. But it's a really amazing program designed to bring nonprofit leaders from all over the world together at Harvard Business School. And I just feel so lucky that, I knew you, I knew what this would mean to you. And so seeing you here today, I just wanted to catch up with you on that experience. So can you share a little bit first about yourself and about MLK very quickly, and then let's pivot to what what that week was like for you and what you learned and what you've brought back to your organization.
I'd love to. So,
Yeah.
so I have lived in the Newport County area my entire life, and went to schools in Newport Public Schools, went to college at Keene State College in New Hampshire, did some graduate work at Providence College, but never finished my graduate degree because I had my kids and I just couldn't do it all. And
life got in the way.
And I was a teacher here in this community for 23 years. And one day I just decided I needed something different. I loved being a teacher, but I was really drawn to a place called the Dr. Martin Luther King Community Center in Newport, where I had been involved as a volunteer and a board member. And a position came up there as the assistant executive director, and I thought, I'm really not qualified as a teacher, but I'm going to put my name in for this position because I know that I can do this, and I know I can do this great. So
and it had some meaning. It seems like it like what you knew about the organization had some meaning for you.
Yeah, I mean, it just was a place that I fell in love with from my volunteer work, and I thought, you know what, I have the heart, and I truly believe in most jobs, if you have the heart, you can figure out the rest. Maybe not brain surgery, but but I knew that. So I applied for the job as the assistant executive director, and I did get that job. And I jumped in full force, and 2 years later became the executive director, which has been an incredible experience.
What year are we talking?
So I started as the executive director as the assistant executive director in 2016.
Okay.
And I became the executive director in 2018.
Okay.
And it was pretty sudden. Our former executive director, who was a phenomenal leader, had to retire without a lot of notice. So I jumped in pretty quickly, and I have never looked back. And we've been through some amazing challenges as a community, as an organization, and we have grown, tenfold.
What are the three
ways.
pillars of the MLK Center?
So we have hunger relief programming, which is a vast amount of hunger relief programming throughout Newport County. We have early childhood education programs, which are preschool, after school, and summer camp for young kids. And then we have community programs from exercise classes to concerts to cooking classes and everything in between. We have 25 different free programs for the community.
Wow. That's great work.
Yes.
So you came and applied for this scholarship. Everyone in the state. This is we focus on Rhode Island and a little bit of Connecticut and Southern Mass. So it just goes out to executive directors everywhere to be like, would someone is it the right time in your career in the place you are with your organization to do this? And you applied, and were one of 4 finalists out of many. Yeah. And then you came for an interview and wowed the committee with your story. So you were selected, and you went this past summer, right?
It was 2 summers ago, actually.
Two summers, right?
Yep.
God, it's
I know.
been that
Time
long.
goes by fast.
Yeah, how long has it been since I've seen you? Oh my goodness, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, so 2 summers ago. So can you just chat a little bit about what it was like walking onto that campus, meeting your fellow colleagues there? Tell us about it.
It's honestly hard to talk about this without feeling a little bit of emotion swelling in my chest. Yeah, no, because I, as I said, I grew up here. I went to Rogers High School. I was a very involved student, but I was never an academic genius by any stretch. I've always just been someone with great work ethic, and I figure out how to make things work. But I'm not someone that I would think would have ever been in a program at Harvard. And so to be nominated for this, or to be given the opportunity to apply, and then to be a finalist, I told myself when I went for that interview with the other finalists that this was not going to happen for me, but that how amazing is it that I even have an opportunity to be a finalist. And when I ever got the word that I was chosen, it was one of the proudest days of my life, and I'll never forget calling my kids and telling them, you're never going to believe what just happened. So, but the program was, I can't say enough. I met people from all over the world. We worked in cohorts. I got to live in the most unbelievable dorm on the Harvard Business School campus for that week, and we were wined and dined, and I've never done more reading in my life and prepping for the different seminars that that we did.
And what was that like? So they used the case method at Harvard.
So,
tell everybody what that
read,
means.
About 20 different case studies that were a lot. We were given the materials a few months in advance and told, to make the most out of this, prepare. And I did. I spent hours and hours and hours leading up to that program, preparing and reading and taking notes. And then we had a lot of the case studies were on other nonprofits from all over the world and nonprofit leaders. And many of them were able to come to Harvard Business School that during the program and actually speak to us, and we could meet them. And so it was very real world situations.
Right. Like, so you're reading a case about the CEO of XYZ nonprofit, and then you come together to discuss it as a class, and then they show up and they're like, how'd I do?
Yes.
And some people are like, they did great. Some people, they did not.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an interesting dynamic, right?
Yeah. And then, one of the other highlights was getting together with our group, and we had to talk about a challenge that we had within our own organizations that we wanted help working through. And I, at the time, I was talking about our building expansion and like going
the capital
through some
campaign.
Yeah, well, the actual construction and doing all of this, and also the warming center, because that was when we were starting to think about doing the warming center and what a big lift that is on our center, but what it needed is in the community. And they really walked me through. Well, tell us, we talked at great length about all the different challenges and the options that I had, and then I did the same for them with their organizations, which are all over the world. And I still keep in regular touch with this group of people because we became very quickly like colleagues.
Yeah, so you said you've got there's a small kind of study group or something.
Yes, there were 8 of us within.
Where were they from?
Group. So they were from. We had someone from Korea, someone from Ireland, someone from Los Angeles, Australia, me, someone from DC. So I mean, they were from all over the world.
And you're still in touch with these people.
We're still in touch. Yes.
So you feel like you can call them up right now?
I feel like I can call them up right now. Some have gone through job changes. Some have gone through amazing things in their organizations. Some have gone through challenges, and we've sort of stayed in touch along the way. And
it's the whole journey, right?
Yeah. And beyond that group, I mean, there was just a greater group of people. There were about 125 people in total participated. And we got to know the greater group too, and it was also fun. It was being in college again. At night we would find a little bit of time to go socialize. Not quite like we did in college, but we bought our Harvard sweatshirts, and we all just celebrated. And there were some very, very impressive people there, and I was so honored to be among them and get my picture taken in front of the Harvard sign. And it was just something, and I brought so much back to my organization, and to me that's the most precious part of it, is my experience has helped my organization grow in so many different ways. So
can you articulate some of those? I know that's a hard question, but like, what do you feel like you gleaned from that program?
Well, I think some of the things about looking at processes and how I come to making decisions on programs and whether we should do something or not do something. Some of the processes that I was introduced to were really helpful, and I use them in every day at the center with my leadership team.
Like, what do you mean?
Like looking at a program and figuring out whether that program is effective, whether we should continue that program, or even more importantly, when there is something we have an idea for, how we can figure out whether or not we should be implementing
like
that.
How to vet that with not just a gut instinct, but
we were given actual materials to help us through that. But for me,
that's cool stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I think for me also just the stories of the challenges and the successes of other organizations, it makes us realize that no matter how big or how small an organization is, because some of the people in other organizations that were there and that we read about were massive. And then, others were small, and we're in the middle. And we've grown significantly. But to just know that we're really sort of all the same in so many different ways.
Yeah, and you're not alone.
No. Not alone
right.
At all.
See, that was one of my takeaways too. You're not alone. There are people out there that are feeling exactly what you're feeling. And sometimes it can feel lonely, right? When you're
it sure can.
Running an organization and having to make the tough decisions.
Right. You have to make difficult decisions, and every decision I make is about the people that we serve, and and what's best for the center, and sometimes everybody doesn't always agree with that, no matter what you do. So I'm really proud of what we do, and I'm really proud to have been able to participate in that program. It was something I will never ever forget. Yeah.
That makes me so happy. I tell you, as a member of the Harvard Business School Alumni Club, this is the most important thing that we do as our organization, as the alumni organization of Southeastern New England. It is this scholarship. So, we're raising money because it's not inexpensive, for sure.
It's not. Yeah.
But we feel like the best impact we can have on the state of Rhode Island is to send our nonprofit leaders there to get that boost at the right time for them, right? And the timing does matter, right?
Yeah.
Like 3 years ago might not have been, or 4 years ago might not have been the right time. So that we do a lot of talking about the timing and where the organization is in the life cycle, and then the impact of that organization. And it was really nice to send an organization from Aquidneck Island.
Yeah.
And do you feel, I don't know, what's your connection to broader Rhode Island when you think about the MLK Center?
Yeah, so I think that I think we used to be a little bit more of a bubble on Aquidneck Island, but we are definitely part of a greater Rhode Island nonprofit. In fact,
ecosystem.
Beyond that, yeah. I mean, we're very, very involved with the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. We are a member agency of them. There's about, I think, 150 member agencies, but we are definitely one of the biggest food pantries, and we are looked at and asked to come and participate and be. I spoke at the food bank last week. We're really
you were just in Providence doing a big talk.
Yes,
right?
Yep. And we go to a lot of things in Providence. We're very involved at the Rhode Island Foundation. So we are out there in Rhode Island. We need Aquidneck Island to always be part of greater Rhode Island and not be forgotten about.
Well, I actually think that is what is so magical about our state. I mean, we're a small state, which comes with its challenges, but the beautiful thing is everybody is connected, and especially this nonprofit ecosystem is just so impactful, so impactful. So I'm just so glad I can't believe I'm getting to run into you and hear about your experience in this program, and I thank you for going.
Yeah, I will never, like I said, I will never forget it. And I do recommend anybody else that has an opportunity to apply for that scholarship. The application was, a little bit of work, but worth every single ounce of time that I put into it. And the interview was an honor to be able to go and sit before all of those Harvard alumni and talk about why I deserved that scholarship. And I guess I did a good job.
You did deserve it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I think we've been doing that scholarship, I'm going to say at least 15 years now, if not more. And the people that are graduates of that program are the movers and shakers of the state, and they are keeping our state vibrant and beautiful. And just thank you so much.
Well, I'm proud to be among that group.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank you for telling us about your experience.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Okay.